And now, the new caribou, the Honorable Sir David, Emperor of Salt Lake City, Sultan of Utah, Spiritual Advisor to Questioning Mormons, the Bard Extraordinaire, Supreme Being, Alpha and Omega. Here's David.
Hello, hello. I love that introduction. Now just quit clapping. That's enough. There's two kangaroos doing this really fast. Thank you. This is the Sir David the Bard. And you know, I just have to be happy, folks. I'm sorry. This is not my face. Usually my face in life in the Mormon church was like the world on my shoulders. I will never be good enough. I am not perfect. I am guilty. I feel like sex, but I shouldn't feel like sex. My penis wants sex, but the spirit is willing, and so is the body. But damn, I'm happy. I have accomplished something at 65 years old that I thought I would never do. No, I didn't marry Marie Osmond. That's my second goal in life. Anyway, Marie, I'm starting to become the rice man. The rice man of the Philippines. You people have been so kind. And now I'm going to say this, okay? My demographics are half male and half female within a few points. And that makes me feel good. And I'm not talking to all women or all men. I seem to cross that demographic line. Now, why? Why are all, no, not just one or two, all of the donations from women? Why are they all from women? They have usually the least amount of money. They got 9 kids hanging on them if they're Mormons. And, you know, this pissed me off yesterday. Utah. Now, down here in Australia, we're fair to women. Utah, they make 55 cents to every dollar that a man makes. Almost half. And this goes back to the Mormon thought that women are supposed to be in the kitchen and in the bedroom. And they shouldn't be working. It's a sin for women to work. I remember this 20 years ago. But when the church saw the double incomes coming in and double tithing, they go, well, maybe they could work. Yeah, as long as they send their tithing. The nonsense. So anyway, I feel bad that the donations have all come from women. I got another 20 today. Shit. I woke up and hit the button and fell off the chair. I go, crime and neat. Anyway, we have enough money now in the funds to buy 40 pounds of rice. Now that's 80 kilos. It's not exactly the exchange, but I was doing it here on my damn calculator. Allison, I have 2 calculators. Allison! God, you got to go search her room, her drawers. God, she's a thief. She should have her own TV program, Allison the Thief. Anyway, I'm not very good without a calculator anymore. I used to be, but I was so excited this morning, I just go, screw it, just estimate, and I did. So, and I had to look up, 1 kilo is 28 pesos. Now, you people right now have put into the Philippines more than 1,200 pesos. The exchange rate is 42 right now, I think, close. It changes every day. But it's 42, so you put in $40 times 42, well, no, it'd be 1,600 pesos, wouldn't it? So, hell with the calculator! My head says, you know, yeah, 1,600 pesos. That's a lot of pesos in the Philippines for a family to go buy rice with. Let me give you an idea. You can ride a tricycle. It is not the little car that has pedals on it for children. A tricycle is a motorcycle converted to carry anywhere from 8 to 10 people. Yes, a motorcycle that has a little car on the back of it, not on the side. In America, we put one person over there on the side and maybe 2 on the seat. In the Philippines, they have a driver, 2 in the front and 6 in the back. And they usually don't hang off the side of a tricycle because a Honda 120, it's the little tiny Honda, and it's an engine usually. Some of them have engines, and some of you people are old enough, but most of you aren't, where you put the rope on the spindle and you pull it and the engine starts. Sometimes. Anyway, you can ride a tricycle from your house generally to town for about 7 pesos. That's better than a cab. That's 14 cents. And you can do your grocery shopping with 7 pesos back. So when I'm telling you there's 1,600 pesos there, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Now, I want to give you an idea too, because I'm learning. I don't know all this crap. Believe me, I don't. A kilo is roughly 1 pound. Now, there's some decimals in there that just confuse me. But a kilo is like 1 pound. Now, the exchange rate right now in the Philippines is 42 pesos for $1. So for every dollar you and I put over there, and my son just called and he says, "Dad, I'm going to feed a couple of kids." He's going to put his money in there. And I am too. At Christmas time, I can afford a few bucks here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in too. But anyway, the exchange is 42. Riding a tricycle is 7 pesos. Okay. Now, let's say that you want to go down to, I used to go to the open market. That's really fun. And buy fruits and vegetables and things there. And, you know, you can buy a whole bag of apples, you know, nice apples, I don't know, 15, 20 pesos, a whole bag. A whole bag. And you can get lots of food for very cheap. Now, I went, this is one of the experiences of my life. I went to the open meat market. No, it wasn't a club in Salt Lake or Australia. It was real meat. Now, what do you do with no refrigeration in meat? You die. God, I went in there, and there's salmon and dolphins. I don't know what, the big fish with big tails and a guy with a machete. There was like 100 of them hitting the fish. And the fish are screaming, no more, no, but they were cutting them in pieces. And then they were poking them with a fork that they never washed and handing them to the people. And no bags, or and people had to have bags to put the live cut fish into. Well, you had to run home like hell because in 3 or 4 hours it's a bag of botulism. I never saw, in my life as an American, I never saw anything like it in my life. There were mice and rats everywhere running on the floor. Blood everywhere on the floor. And, you know, and here's the sad part, and I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is there were always little kids that weren't in school, that should have been, and they stood in groups of 4 or 5 and begged for pesos so that they could eat. Being an American, my skin, of course, was whiter, and I was bigger. The Philippine people are fairly small people, and I would be spotted quickly in the meat market, pretty much anywhere else I went. And two or three of the boys or 2 or 3 of the girls would come up, and they couldn't speak English. Most of them didn't have shoes on, were standing in the blood, and wanted me to give them pesos. I did, but I never had enough to give enough to make any kind of a difference. And I want you to know, $1 makes a tremendous difference in a child's life in the Philippines. I don't know. Some of this brings back memories that I came home to the United States and I wanted to do something. Damn, I had 2 brand new kids in a family. I had to pay $5,000 for Allison's teeth with a orthodontic surgeon because they were so rotted. She never had any milk and never had any kind of vitamin D except the sun. And Abigail couldn't speak any English. Allison could speak just a few words. I was in special education classes trying to get them tutors and help and English as a second language class. I was too busy, and I was too poor then. When Mercy and I flew back from the Philippines, I'd sold everything I owned to get her to the United States, and I didn't have a place to live. My son Dan, who you hear me talk about quite often on the show here, he let Mercy and I sleep on the floor of his children's room for 2 weeks until we were able to rent an apartment, get a car, and buy some food and settle in. I never, to this moment, have forgot those children in the Philippines. You know, life, things happen. I understand that. I'm old enough to understand that there's sickness, there's death, there's divorce, there's depression, there's mental illness. But somehow, in my heart, people should have the necessities of life. Food is a necessity. I have a minor degree, at BYU. My minor was child development and family relations. I know what maturation is on a child. I know what a healthy child looks like. And I know there's certain developmental periods in a child's brain and life that if they don't develop there, they're probably not going to ever develop there. There's certain minerals and vitamins and chemicals that the brain needs to be able to develop at certain times. And those kids over there, they always smiled, and they were always happy. I wasn't. They didn't know that they were malnourished. They thought being hungry was part of life. Death was always around the Filipino people. They can hardly bury their dead there because their water table is so high. The dead people float out of the ground. I had a motorcycle that I bought in the Philippines when I was there. That's the main transportation. I think back on it now thinking, you know, a 63-year-old guy or 2 or whatever I was back then. I rode my whole family on the motorcycle. There was Mercy, me, and the 2 kids. In some places in the Philippines, you ride 12 people on a motorcycle. You put a 2x4 on the front and a 2x4 on the back, and 4 down the seat, or 5 down the seat if someone's holding a baby, and then 3 out on the front on one side, 3 out on the front on the other side, and 3 in the back, and 3 in the back. And there's no helmets. The babies are carried by the moms on the motorcycle. And I used to go to the only McDonald's in the land that I was in, Mindanao, southern Philippines. And I went inside, and I felt, as an American, at least I have an American business there, that I can eat food. I didn't want to eat some of the Filipino food. Chocolate-covered cockroaches. Homie, don't eat that. I was sitting in McDonald's and having my breakfast, or yeah, I think it was breakfast. And the windows in McDonald's went along the main street there in Butuan, at the main intersection. It's Gazano's, the only mall in the entire state. And I was sitting there eating, and I was sitting in a chair next to the window, and pretty soon I look over out the window, and there was a small little girl standing there in rags, watching me feed my fat ass and my fat face in McDonald's. I think I spent, in the Philippines it's cheaper, I think I spent maybe $4 American for a breakfast. Now $4 American is 160 pesos, and that little girl could have eaten for a week on that one meal that I spent money on. I went outside, and I brought her in to McDonald's, and of course all of us Americans sitting there, and others who had money from foreign countries, looked at her like she was a bum. She was dressed like a bum. Her hair wasn't done, her face wasn't washed, and I took her up to the counter and ordered her breakfast, one child. She'd never been in McDonald's. She didn't really know how to sit. In the Philippines, they squat. That's the standard way that they eat. And she wanted to squat in the chair, and I sat her down and showed her how to sit in the chair. She'd never seen a napkin in her whole life. The Filipinos don't have toilet paper. They don't have paper. They don't have trees over there. And I had to show her how to use the napkin, and many eat with their hands. Well, that doesn't fly too well in McDonald's, even in the Philippines, and so I had to show her a fork, a knife, and a spoon. And it made one little girl very, very happy for a very short period of time. And I sat there, all the other street kids saw what I did. Now I looked out the window, and there's 20 of them watching me and the little girl eat, and they're saying, me, 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 me. I couldn't feed all those kids, folks. I couldn't do it. I was helpless. I had just enough money to get my wife back here sleeping on the floor. Just enough money to buy my kids their first set of school clothes in the United States. They all wear uniforms in the Philippines, and my kids never had just real clothes. I vowed that day that if there was anything I could do, I would do it to help these children. After I was done at McDonald's and I went outside, my motorcycle had been in the sun, and the seat was hot. And there was 3 little Filipino boys there that had a piece of cardboard that they had, and they put it on my seat to make it so it wasn't hot, that I could get back on and not get burned on it. And when I came out, they wanted 2 or 3 pesos for their work. And I gave that to them. And that was their job. They weren't in school. They didn't have shoes. They didn't have socks. None of them had had a bath. That was hard for me. I call that my McDonald's Philippines story because it reminded me I could feed one, but I couldn't do all the other 20. I just couldn't. The next day or so, I went over to the orphanage. My social worker that approved me with $100 bribe, which is like 2,000 pesos. That's the way they do business in that country. I've made sure my little venture here of the rice has gone around that. There's no place for bribery in our system at all. What you donate goes to children. The attorney will charge a reasonable fee for her services, but the rest of it, there's no, here's $10, here's $5. There's none of that. I've been there. I know how to get around that system. So I went to the orphanage, and I was over there, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. And the children were so afraid to see an American, because I'm a pretty big guy, and I'm a different color than they are, and they've never had any kind of nurturing or any kind of somebody to hold them, or to love them, or to take them to a doctor. None of them went to school. None of them. The state couldn't afford the 60 pesos to put them in school for a year. I run residential treatment centers most of my life, so I know what they should look like, and I went in, and it was filthy. I wouldn't have put a dog in there, but there was 20 little kids in there that their parents just gave them away. Just gave them away. We don't want these kids. Goodbye. And some of them were found on the steps of churches. The one day I went in there was a brand new baby. I think she was only, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days old, and she doesn't have a crib. She's just laying on a mattress with a little blanket over her. Diapers, whoever heard of a diaper? And there she was. She's in an orphanage in the Philippines. She'll never amount to anything and never have enough food. Then I met a little girl, and she was a little older. She was about 11. Liza. And she was a pretty little girl. And Liza kind of... she knew a good thing when she saw it. She saw the American that had money. She's a Filipino girl. Damn. And she kind of warmed up to me and my wife. Mercy was there a couple of times with me. I was there a few times without Mercy. And Liza, I asked about her. To the staff, I said, "What's her situation?" They said, "Well, she is up for adoption. Her parents, the parental rights have been taken away." And so I don't know what I thought. So anyway, Mercy and I took her over and bought her some socks and bought her a little dress and bought her a couple of things. And then I was LDS at that time. We actually took her to church with us on Sunday, and that shocked all the Filipinos, because you help your family in the Philippines. You don't help strangers. It's part of their culture. Well, I went back a few days later and asked, where's Liza? And they said, well, she's run away, and we haven't seen her since. She was gone. I played with the children a little bit. The TV didn't work, and there's brownouts all the time in the Philippines, blackouts. And I met one girl. One of the other kids said to me, would you like to come back and meet Mary? And I said, well, sure. Why isn't Mary out here with the rest of you? And they said, well, come and see. And I went into the room. And I met Mary, smiling and laughing, smiling and laughing. Totally deformed from polio, because she couldn't afford a polio vaccine when she was a baby. Her arms and her legs all twisted. Not really a wheelchair, because they can't afford wheelchairs in the Philippines, and there's no sidewalks. There's nowhere to push a wheelchair in the mud and the blood and the beer. And she's sitting there, crapped on herself, peed all over the floor. Not enough staff to go and clean her up. It bothers me. It bothers me so much as an American that I've been raised middle class all my life. I had bicycles. I had a Christmas tree every year. I had Christmas presents every year. And I had clothes. I had a washer, a dryer. I was talking to Mercy. Now Mercy right now, I think she's 41 years old. And she did such a fabulous job on the Christmas tree down here in Australia. And I said, well, why do you spend so much time on a Christmas tree? It's just a Christmas tree. Put it up, put some things on it, throw some, you know, what do you call that stuff? Tinsel on it. Oh, she's meticulous, meticulous. That's beautiful. So, yeah, it's the most beautiful Christmas tree I've ever seen. And she said, well, the reason that I spend so much time is I've never had a Christmas tree. We couldn't afford it. It took me a few minutes to go in my room and kind of digest that, and to ponder and to wonder what it was like. She never had a Christmas tree. She never had any Christmas presents. She never had any running water. She never had a flush toilet. She had only rice and dried fish to eat. And they only ate twice a day, and Dad would push a lot of his rice across the table to her because there wasn't enough for the family, and he wanted her to develop as a normal child. I don't know, folks. I don't know why some of us have so much and others have so little. I know the Mormon Church's doctrine. It says that these people are black, they're brown, they're inferior, and they're poor because of the pre-existence. That they weren't really for God. They weren't quite sure. They sat on the fence, or when he asked for a vote, they said, well, I don't know, and they couldn't make decisions. You know, this is one of the harder videos. I didn't think I was going to have a hard time with this video. When I look back on that little girl looking through that McDonald's window, dressed the way she was, and the hopelessness of her life, if you're telling me that Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or whoever your gods are wants her to live like that because she wasn't valiant, that makes me sick. Literally sick to my stomach, and so outraged I can hardly hold my anger. What father in his right mind goes, she deserves to be punished? She didn't really attend the meetings all the time, and she didn't raise her hand for Jesus. What father in his right mind would treat his little girl like that? You can have your Jesus. He didn't do shit for her, did he? The Bard did. I fed her that one meal. Not a great thing, not a wonderful thing, but damn, I did something. I did something. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm doing something by doing this video and saying, please, people, there's a lot of poor kids in a lot of poor countries. We can't fix that. That's the way Jesus and your other gods wants the world to be, and that's the way it is. But I can do something. I fed that one little girl once. I bought Liza some clothes once. She looked so cute and so nice, she ran away in the clothes because she knew if she'd run away in her regular clothes, she would be picked up by the police and put in an orphanage. She looked like she was cared for. I bought socks. I bought shoes, shirts, and things for the other kids in the orphanage. All I'm doing now is I'm telling you my experience. I saw these things with my own eyes. I heard these children beg with my own ears. I left the Philippines, but the Philippines and their children have never left me. When my two girls come home from school every day, first thing they do is go into the kitchen, and we have snacks like ordinary American families do, but you know what they do? They cook rice. They cook rice, and then they sit down and eat for hours, sometimes hour, hour and a half, and they put more rice on and eat. And I've said to Abigail, I said, honey, you can't lick your plate in the United States. It makes you look like you come from a poor country. She looked at me and she said, Dad, I did come from a poor country, and every piece of rice is important. Well, taught me a lesson. You now have provided 40 pounds of rice to hungry children, and it's my job to see that gets in their damn mouth. It doesn't go to corruption. It doesn't go to overhead and administration and new cars and air-conditioned dog houses and all of the evils that other men have done with your money and my money. I didn't want my money to build a mall. There was no thing on a Mormon slip that said, oh, mall money. They just did it anyway. They just took my money, they built the mall. Well, folks, there's not going to be a Filipino mall. There's going to be people with their children and companies and businesses and churches and orphanages lined up to be getting your rice. Because you're an American, I'm an American, and we believe in sharing. We believe in helping. And if we were over there and they had the money, how would we feel just getting an extra bowl of rice? It would be like Christmas. It would be like Christmas. We got 40 pounds, folks. I keep updated with the monies that keep coming in. And I'm going to challenge. I love to be... There's still Mormonism in me. I can't get it all out, folks. They built this machine. If you take it all out, the machine just lays on the ground and flops. There's no human in there. It's just a Mobot. A Mormon bot. I'm going to challenge the men. I'm going to say, what the hell? Man up! Man up! Send some money to those kids. Poor little girls, they're writing checks, they're sending it in. No wonder females are angelic. When push comes to shove, they put their money where their hearts are and where their mouths are. And some of these girls that have donated, I'm sure have 3, 4, and 5 kids, and I'm sure some of them are LDS. I'm sure. And somehow they still found 5, 10, whatever dollars, $20 to send. So, doesn't make my life, folks. I'm not a preacher. I'm not religious. I have higher standard than any religion I have ever read about or been in. I believe when I see hunger and a need like that, if I can go on TV or my show or whatever, and somebody says, here's $5, you're funny, or you've helped me, your depression, or my depression rolls over to you, and most of my people are depressed. A lot of them have committed suicide. So, anyway, the women's little hearts are tender, and I promise you, that money is going to go into the mouth of a Filipino child if I have to go there myself and put it in their mouth. I have people there that I trust and know that that money will go there. And it will be used right. Now, men, get the hell onto the board here, you know? Don't make me embarrassed, you know? I don't want to wear a dress doing this show. Let me keep my pants on. I'm going to put some money in there. I might find that, $50 or whatever I can do at Christmas time. I've already sent a little bit of money off to Mercy's parents. But damn, I know what $50 can do. So, man, don't let these women embarrass us. Help. And I'll keep it posted on my main page, the New Caribou channel. It has on there every day how much money it accumulates. It accumulates. And I'm trying to figure. I'll go back right now because I stopped doing it because I was too stupid. I could not figure out how many pounds of rice $40 would buy in kilos. And I had to convert all that. So anyway, if you can help. If you can't, I understand. I have some people on here that can barely afford to go over to the library and use the computer. I have people on here who are disabled. I have people on here that are old and fragile and crippled. I have a lot of people that watch me from all over the world, and when I see their comments come in, I know they can't afford anything. They're on Social Security or they're living right on the edge of life. They find $5 or $10. What outstanding individuals. What outstanding humans. If you're getting Jesus points, that's fine with me. I don't care. And Jesus better give you a lot of points for that. I don't want points. You know what I want? I want to see the smile that that little girl in McDonald's gave me because she didn't know how to open up the packages. She didn't know. She'd never seen a napkin. She didn't know what the silverware was for. And when she started to put that food in her mouth, she gave me the biggest little smile. That's what life is all about. That's what life is all about, folks. Thank you.